start our Saturdays with me, Ribea, Elise. Not Saturdays with me specifically, but our relationship talk, our live stream videos that we are doing, right? And with our Saturday, winter Saturdays, right? We were talking yesterday about commitment. Not necessarily the commitment, but the vow that we tend to so often find ourselves humiliated and abused at, right? And we're talking about the relationship vow itself, right? This what we get, that we experience, that is the journey in the different seasons that we walk in our relationships itself. And while we find ourselves walking different seasons in our relationship, we have a requirement and an acknowledgement, and I've mentioned those words a lot during this season, that our requirement and our acknowledgement are to be committed. And while the recognition and requirement are commitment, we have to acknowledge being committed to ourselves. And when we find ourselves being committed to ourselves, then we learn in a relationship how to be committed to someone else. How to be committed in a relationship that sometimes have the attention of relationship partners drawn to so much that you sometimes find yourself in a relationship where you have learned and have allowed yourself to be humiliated, to be oppressed, to be abused. And the moment that you walk a journey in such a relationship of humiliation, in a relationship of oppression, in a relationship of abuse, then you tend to hold on to that and you tend to allow that to be the journey that explains your relationships itself. And when you give up so much of yourself unto the journey that now has been designed, I've done our fashion design out for today, and I'm so fine with how I have presented and introduced our design on our Instagram page. And while we have so much that we have to acknowledge on the journey of relationships, in a journey can design itself. And when a relationship journey, I've been watching The Devil Wears Prada now for almost how much time. And when you learn about the design of the seasons that we walk, and how the design can now really birth you in your season, and how your design sometimes birth you, how your relationship sometimes either mature you, or your relationship sometimes either have you lose out on so much that is actually having to be acknowledged on your journey of seasons. The journey of seasons I've mentioned, other than in relationships, the journey of seasons is a journey that you walk giving acknowledgement, giving recognition, giving ownership to you yourself that has been birthed in your birth womb. And while our birth womb requires us in our season to not disregard how we design the journey itself. That for us personally, thank you for joining. It is the journey that we birth, that we celebrate the birthday. And for me, I'm 40 years this year. And the 4-0 journey for me is exactly everything that I, Ribea, have allowed myself to design in my season, and exactly everything that I sometimes have learned and allowed someone else to design about my season, right? Thank you for joining. Hi, how are you, Joe Wellen? Y'all can say the country that y'all are from. Thank you. And we're talking about relationships, right? And I'm really wanting to say our Saturday relationship winter warmth journey. And while we are in a journey that requires so much acknowledgement when we are in our relationships, the journey requires you to hold on to everything new seasons. We get into relationships where a relationship partner has been introduced to someone else, and he sometimes find himself walking a journey with you that he sometimes have been introduced by someone else that is now someone else's journey. And then we find ourselves in a relationship where the journey is one journey, because we live in a world where the relationship is one room that has two different partners in, right? And while the relationship is one room, someone else's journey might sometimes be in your relationship walk. And then how you and your partner really nurtures your relationships. Nurturing is that is everything that is allowed in the relationship itself. Everything that you and your partner allows yourselves to appreciate about the relationship itself. And when you tend to learn to appreciate, then you tend to be emotionally drawn to that you appreciate most. Thank you for joining the room. Say hi and say what country you are from. Thank you. We're on relationship talks. And while you are getting emotionally drawn to that you have designed. For me, Ribea, Elise, it's my fashion business. It's my mama's birth womb. And it's introduced in the international womb of the international parenting, of international birth giving, of international man and woman relationship, of the international men in the international world, of the international woman in the international world. And while our journeys require so much of us, and while we have to give so much attention to so much, we are having to acknowledge the required season that we are designing, and how emotionally drawn you can sometimes be to that season of relationship. And not every season of relationship is going to be the same. Not every season, no matter how you design a season, not every season of any relationship that you find yourself in are going to be the same. We tend to sometimes be emotionally drawn to the journey of the relationship rather than to the partner's self. Emotionally drawn is how much do you expect of the relationship? Some people tell themselves that you know what, they rather want to endure in the relationship humiliation rather than being separated. And then that's how you tend to be emotionally drawn to the journey that you have designed, to the time frame of how long you find yourself in such a relationship. Rather than getting to know your partner, rather than having your partner on one page with where you are required to be at, whether a left page or right hand page, rather than accepting the relationship in itself season, we sometimes find been so much emotionally drawn to the journey of the relationship self. Let us allow ourselves to conclude this part of today's live stream. We're going to do later again another live stream on the same topic. We're going to charge our phone and we're going to talk later today on the same discussion that we want to have us listen to. And we're going to get cozy because it's Saturdays and we can make a lot of our cozy warm room videos. And we make the videos available and we say in those discussions. And if you find yourself in a relationship, and if you have relationship questions, feel free to share your comment. Feel free to share your chat. Thank you for the people that tuned into yesterday's room also. The room was there was really people, yes, from America, also USA. And yes, thank you. Someone from New Zealand also was tuned in the other day. Join in our discussions. Y'all can see the countries that y'all are from if y'all want to. If y'all do not want to, then it's fine. And if y'all have questions on relationships, so if y'all want to share your relationships opinions, then type it there and we can share on the journey of discussing that sometimes takes so much of our time, to have so much of our attention drawn in our journey of seasons, in our birth journey on this earth. We spend most of our times in relationships. And that is where we are discussing relationships in a way that is really direct, that is really kind to myself and my journey and my seasons and my experiences and how I would choose a relationship partner. And if there's not really anything else that I would add onto that, then it is sometimes I'm fine to just choose anyone. Other times I'm not really the Ribea that not really sometimes want to specifically date someone because I really want to appreciate the time spent with someone rather than only being in a relationship self. We're gonna talk later further on that. For now, hold on to that. Thank you for joining. Have an amazing relationship Saturdays with us. Tune in later also. That's right.